Let me ask you this. Are you taking care of the most powerful tool you'll ever own? Are you nurturing the very thing that holds your dreams, your purpose, your life? Think about that. Because every choice we make, every habit we adopt, it either feeds our brain or depletes it. So, what are you choosing? Our brain is the powerhouse of everything we do. It's what allows us to think, to feel, to create, to remember, and to dream. It's easy to take it for granted, but without a healthy, functioning brain, everything in our lives starts to suffer. Our relationships, our careers, our goals, and our overall happiness. All of it depends on the health of our brain. Yet so often, we let habits creep into our lives that quietly chip away at this vital part of us. We neglect it, we abuse it, and sometimes we even ignore it entirely. But here's the truth. If we want to live fully, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, we must protect our brains. We must care for them, nurture them, and make choices that keep them strong. Because when our brains thrive, we thrive. When our brains are healthy, we're capable of so much more. We're sharper, we're more focused, and we're able to chase our dreams with energy and passion. Today, let's explore 8 ways you might be slowly harming your brain without even realizing it. Each of these habits may seem harmless on the surface, but over time, they can take a toll, limiting your potential and keeping you from reaching your true capacity. Let's break free from these hidden traps, one by one, and start building a future where our minds are as strong, resilient, and vibrant as our dreams deserve. Imagine this. You're at the end of a long life, looking back over the years. You see the moments of joy, the accomplishments, the people you loved, and the dreams you chased. But you also see something else. You see missed opportunities, forgotten ideas, and dreams that never came to be. Why? Because somewhere along the way, you stopped taking care of the most powerful tool you ever had, your mind. You didn't realize it at the time, but every unhealthy choice, every moment of neglect was like a tiny cut, a little crack in the foundation of everything you hope to achieve. Our brains are the engines that drive us forward, that give us insight, focus, and vision. And yet, we live in a world where it's easy, so easy, to let our mental health take a back seat. There's so much pressure, so many distractions, so many reasons to put our well-being on hold. But let me tell you, there's nothing more important than taking care of this part of yourself. Because when your brain suffers, everything else follows. Your relationships, your goals, your purpose, even your peace of mind, it all hinges on the health of your brain. You might not feel it now, but over time, the effects of neglect add up. It's like a slow leak in a boat. You don't notice it first, but eventually, you're sinking. So today, let's do something about it. Let's bring awareness to the habits that harm us. Let's choose to be intentional, to be mindful, to make choices that lift us up instead of holding us down. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. It's about knowing that you have the ability to protect your mind, to strengthen your brain, and to give yourself the best possible foundation for a life that's full, meaningful, and truly alive. Let's start with something we all know but rarely take seriously: sleep. You've heard it before, probably 100 times. Get enough sleep, prioritize rest. But how many of us actually do it? In a world that values hustle, grind, and constant productivity, sleep often feels like a luxury. It's easy to convince ourselves that we don't need those extra hours, that we can function just fine on 5 or 6 hours a night. But let me tell you, when you're skimping on those precious hours, it's like taking a hammer to your own mind. Sleep is not just rest, it's repair. It's when the brain heals, processes information, and prepares you for the next day. Think of it like a pit stop for a race car. Without it, the vehicle might keep running for a while, but it's only a matter of time before it breaks down. Lack of sleep is like driving on worn-out tires. You might get a few extra miles today, but eventually, you're going to hit a wall. When you consistently get too little sleep, your brain doesn't get the time it needs to repair itself. Toxins build up, memory starts to weaken, focus fades, and your emotional control slips. Have you ever noticed that when you're tired, even the smallest problems feel like mountains? That's not an accident. When we're sleep deprived, our brains can't regulate emotions properly. We're quicker to anger, slower to reason, and less capable of dealing with stress. Over time, this constant state of low-level exhaustion can start to feel normal, but make no mistake, it's a slow path to burnout. Imagine trying to pour water from an empty cup. That's what it's like to live without enough sleep. You're running on empty, giving from reserves that just aren't there. But when you're well rested, everything feels different. Your focus sharpens, your energy rises, your patience grows. You're able to take on challenges with strength and resilience, to live fully instead of just getting by. So let's change the narrative. Sleep isn't a weakness. It isn't something to sacrifice in the name of productivity. It's a gift you give yourself, a chance to recharge, to refresh, to start each day with the power you need to pursue your dreams. Tonight, make a choice. Turn off the screens, quiet the noise, and let yourself rest. Because your brain deserves that investment. And remember, when you give yourself the rest you need, you're not just taking care of today. You're building a foundation for every day that follows. Now let's talk about what you're feeding that brain of yours. Think about it. If you owned a sports car, would you pour in the cheapest fuel you could find? Or would you want the best? The kind that keeps it running smoothly, that preserves its power and longevity? Our brains are no different. They need clean, powerful fuel, food that's rich in nutrients, that builds them up instead of breaking them down. Yet, in today's world, we're surrounded by junk food, fast food, and processed food. It's convenient, it's cheap, and it tastes good. But here's the thing, it's empty. These foods might fill your stomach, but they starve your mind. They give you calories, sure, but they don't give you the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants your brain needs to function at its best. It's like pouring mud into that sports car engine. Sure, it'll run for a while, but eventually it's going to sputter, stall, and break down. Your brain thrives on nutrients, healthy fats, proteins, complex carbs, vitamins, and minerals. These are the building blocks of a healthy mind. When you eat right, you're not just fueling your body, you're empowering your brain. You're giving it the tools it needs to remember, to focus, to create, to feel. Think of it like building a house. If you use weak materials, the structure won't last. But when you use strong, solid materials, that house can withstand anything. So let me ask you, what are you choosing? Are you eating for convenience, or are you eating for life? Every bite you take is a choice, a decision that either builds you up or breaks you down. And I'm not saying you need to give up every treat, every indulgence. Life is about balance, but it's also about intention. It's about knowing that you have the power to fuel your mind, to protect your brain, to create a body and a mind that's capable of anything you set out to do. The next time you sit down to eat, think about this. Is this food feeding your purpose? Is it fueling your potential? Because every meal is an investment, an opportunity to take one step closer to your best self. And remember, your brain deserves the best fuel you can give it. Choose wisely, because the quality of your life depends on it. Let's talk about stress. Not the kind that pushes you forward, that motivates you, that lights a fire in you. No, I'm talking about the toxic, heavy stress, the kind that weighs you down, that eats away at your joy, your peace, your life. This kind of stress doesn't just make you tired. It wears down your brain, weakens your memory, drains your focus, and slowly takes away everything that makes you, you. Stress is a thief. It steals from your mind, your time, your relationships. It keeps you up at night, makes you snap at the people you love, clouds your judgment, and fills your life with a low-level anxiety that never quite goes away. And if we're not careful, stress becomes the norm. It becomes this background hum, this constant pressure that we start to believe is just a part of life. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be. Think about it. If you had a constant, annoying noise in your house, wouldn't you want to find the source? Wouldn't you want to turn it off to reclaim the peace and quiet you deserve? Chronic stress is that noise. It's a relentless, exhausting force that takes and never gives back. And the longer we let it stay, the harder it is to remember what true peace feels like. So what can we do? How can we silence this thief, this drain on our minds and our lives? It starts with awareness. It starts with recognizing that not everything deserves our attention, our energy, our worry. It's about setting boundaries, letting go of the things we can't control, and making space for the things that bring us joy and peace. It's about knowing that strength doesn't come from bearing every burden. It comes from knowing when to let go. Today, take a moment to breathe, to release, to remind yourself that you are worth more than a life spent in stress. Find ways to let go of the weights that aren't yours to carry. Meditate, laugh, spend time with people who lift you up, because your brain, your life deserves freedom. Our bodies were built to move. From the very beginning, movement has been part of who we are. Yet, in today's world, it's easy to get stuck in a cycle of sitting, scrolling, and staying still. We sit at desks, we sit in cars, we sit on couches. We live lives that are so fast-paced, yet we move so little. And here's the thing. When we're stagnant, we're not just hurting our bodies, we're starving our minds. Exercise isn't just about muscle or fitness. It's about fueling the brain. Every time we move, our heart pumps fresh, oxygen-rich blood to our brain. That blood carries nutrients that boost mood, sharpen focus, and keep our minds alert. Movement literally wakes up our brains, makes them more resilient, more powerful. When we exercise, we're feeding our mind, creating a brain that's alive, agile, and ready for whatever life throws at it. Imagine a garden. If you leave it untouched, unwatered, it starts to wilt. The colors fade, the growth slows. But if you tend to it, water it, let it breathe, it thrives. Your brain is that garden, and exercise is the nourishment it needs. When we let ourselves be still for too long, our energy fades, our motivation drops, and our minds start to slow. But when we move, even a little bit each day, we give ourselves the gift of strength, resilience, and clarity. So let's get moving. I'm not saying you need to run marathons or hit the gym every day, but make movement a part of your life. Walk outside, stretch, dance, find joy in movement, let it energize you. Because every step you take, every time you move, you're feeding your mind, renewing your strength, building a brain that's ready to take on anything. Don't let stillness be the thief of your potential. Move forward, literally, and watch your mind come alive. We live in a digital world. Screens are everywhere. Our phones, our computers, our TVs. They connect us to information, to people, to entertainment. But when we're constantly staring at screens, we're disconnecting from something even more important, ourselves and the real world around us. Think about it. When was the last time you spent a whole day without checking your phone? Or an evening just enjoying the moment without a screen in sight? Here's the problem with excessive screen time. It rewires our brains. It shortens our attention spans, makes it harder for us to focus, and trains us to need constant stimulation. Every notification, every scroll, every new video gives us a little hit of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical. But the more we get used to that instant gratification, the harder it is to find joy in simple, quiet moments. We lose our ability to focus, to be present, to experience life without constant distraction. Our brains were not designed to handle this kind of stimulation all the time. Too much screen time can lead to anxiety, stress, and a sense of emptiness. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. The more you try to pour in, the more it leaks out. No matter how much time we spend online, we never quite feel satisfied. And if we're not careful, screen time can take over, leaving us feeling disconnected from ourselves and from what truly matters. So, let's take a step back. Let's give ourselves the chance to reconnect with the real world. Set limits, take breaks, put down the phone, and look up. Look at the world around you, breathe it in, go for a walk, talk to a friend in person, spend time with your own thoughts. Because in those quiet moments, away from the screen, is where we find clarity, peace, and real happiness. Your brain deserves that break. Take it. We talk a lot about physical health, but what about mental health? For too long, mental health has been a topic we keep in the shadows, something we think we have to handle alone. But let me tell you this, ignoring your mental health is like ignoring a storm inside you, hoping it'll just pass. But it doesn't work like that. Just like our bodies, our minds need care, attention, and support. When we ignore our mental health, it doesn't just affect our mood, it affects our whole life. Our brain is where everything begins. Our dreams, our relationships, our peace. They all depend on the state of our mind. Yet many of us are carrying around burdens that weigh us down. We put on a brave face, keep going, tell ourselves to be strong. But sometimes real strength is in facing the pain, in saying, I need help, or I need a break. Think about it. If you had a physical wound, you wouldn't ignore it. You wouldn't pretend it's not there, hoping it'll go away. No, you treat it, care for it, do what it takes to heal. Mental health is no different. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear, it makes it worse. Over time, the pressure builds, the pain grows, and it starts to affect everything. Your relationships, your job, your joy. So let's change the story. Taking care of your mental health is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. It's recognizing that you deserve to be whole, to be happy, to be at peace. If you're struggling, reach out, talk to someone, find resources, seek support. Give your mind the care it deserves, because your mental health matters, your peace matters, and every step you take to care for yourself is a step toward a life that's full, balanced, and truly alive. When was the last time you did something new? When was the last time you took a risk, tried something outside of your usual routine, or challenged yourself to see the world from a different angle? Our brains thrive on novelty. They're built to learn, to explore, to adapt. But when we settle into a routine, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, living the same days over and over, we start to lose that spark. Our brains become complacent and our lives become smaller. Think of it like a river. When water flows, it stays fresh, full of life, moving towards something greater. But when it sits still, it becomes stagnant, lifeless, trapped. Our minds are no different. When we stop seeking new experiences, our growth slows. We lose our curiosity, our drive, and our creativity. We become comfortable, yes, but that comfort comes at a cost. It's a slow, quiet way of limiting our potential, of holding ourselves back from what we could truly become. But here's the good news. Every day is a new chance to break that cycle. Trying something new doesn't have to mean a huge, life-changing decision. It can be as simple as reading a different type of book, visiting a new place, learning a new skill, or even talking to someone with a different perspective. It's about feeding your mind with new ideas, new challenges, and new ways of thinking. So break out of the comfort zone. Dare to take a step into the unknown. Because every time you try something new, you're expanding your mind, opening yourself to new possibilities, and reminding yourself that life is full of endless potential. Don't let routine keep you from experiencing all that the world has to offer. Step forward, grow, and keep your mind alive. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful forces in our lives, the words we say to ourselves. We all have an inner voice, a constant stream of thoughts that shapes our perception of ourselves in the world. But here's the thing, when that inner voice is filled with negativity, doubt, and criticism, it's like carrying around an invisible weight. It drags us down, limits our confidence, and convinces us that we're not capable, not worthy, not enough. Negative self-talk is like a poison. It seeps into our minds, weakening our motivation, eroding our sense of self-worth, and keeping us stuck in patterns of fear and insecurity. Every "I can't," every "I'm not good enough," every "I'll never succeed" chips away at our potential. We start to believe those words, and in doing so, we limit what we're capable of achieving. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where we stop trying, stop growing, and stop believing in ourselves. But here's the truth. You have the power to change that voice. You have the choice to speak to yourself with kindness, with encouragement, with belief. Imagine if you talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. Imagine replacing every "I can't" with "I'll try," every "I'm not enough" with "I am worthy." Your brain listens to the words you feed it. Positive words lift us up. They inspire us. They fuel us to push through challenges and believe in our potential. So, starting today, make a promise to yourself. Choose words that build you up, words that remind you of your strength, your value, your potential. When doubt creeps in, remind yourself of what you've overcome, of the resilience you hold within, because your words have power. They shape your reality, they create your future, and they define the life you live. Speak to yourself with love, with encouragement, and watch how your world begins to change. We've explored a lot today. 8 hidden traps that can slowly chip away at the health, strength, and potential of your mind. We've talked about neglecting sleep, fueling our brains with the wrong food, letting stress consume us, avoiding movement, disconnecting from reality, ignoring mental health, avoiding new experiences, and the impact of negative self-talk. Each of these habits might seem small on its own, but together they have a profound impact on the life you live and the person you become. But here's the beautiful part. You have the power to choose differently. Every day, you have the chance to make choices that strengthen your mind, that lift you up, that keep you moving toward the life you deserve. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that your brain is a gift, a powerful tool that can help you achieve anything you set your mind to, if you take care of it. Imagine a life where you're energized, focused, resilient, and at peace. Imagine waking up each day with a mind that's sharp, a heart that's full, and a spirit that's ready for whatever comes your way. That life is possible. It's within your reach. And it starts with the choices you make today. Remember, greatness isn't just about talent or luck, it's about choices. Choices to care for yourself, to strengthen your mind, to fuel your dreams. This life, this brain, this chance, it's a gift. Don't just live, thrive, feed your mind, protect your peace, and honor the journey you're on. Because the best version of you is waiting. It's time to meet them. Now go forward, live intentionally, and choose a path that lifts you up, strengthens your mind, and brings you closer to the person you were always meant to be.